Daniel Sports Central, we go over a March Madness game preview and prediction on the national championship matchup between the UConn Huskies and the San Diego State Aztecs. Both teams have had incredible runs in this tournament getting to this point, and it all comes down to this. You got UConn, the most dominant team in this tournament. This team is a 4 seed, but they have been far and away the best team in this tournament, and they're taking on San Diego State. The Aztecs, this is a team that is brutal defensively, and they have found a way in each of their games, and here they are competing for a national championship. Truly a very unexpected matchup, but here we are. This is for the national title. We'll be covering a full game preview and prediction on this match preview today, starting with their team trends. UConn beat Miami 72-59 in the Final Four, another dominant win for the Huskies. This team has been hot in this tournament, and that 13-point win over Miami in the Final Four, that is their closest game in this tournament to this point. I mean, this team has won every game in this tournament by at least 13 points, and considering the outstanding teams that this team has played, it's really remarkable what UConn has done. And if they can finish out this tournament by winning the national title, this will go down as one of the more incredible runs in March Madness history. But San Diego State, I'll say this, I mean, the Aztecs, if anyone's a tough matchup for UConn, I do think it's San Diego State. The defense of the Aztecs, the experience of this team, I do like San Diego State, and I think this is a dangerous matchup for them. You look at the Aztecs, they just beat FAU 72-71. They had to win off of a buzzer beater, which was an incredible finish to the game, and FAU looked like they were in control there, and they were going to proceed on to the championship as a 9 seed. Just an incredible tournament. But yeah, San Diego State, they got the win in the end, 32-6 overall, and this team has also been hot in this tournament. They have had an outstanding run. Of course, they knocked off Alabama, one of the main favorites of this tournament. That was an incredible win, and I mean the runs in general for both teams in this tournament have been insane. You look at UConn beating Iona 87-63 back in the first round, beat St. Mary's by 15, then they beat Arkansas 88-65. I mean, Arkansas is a solid basketball team, and UConn just they made it look easy in that matchup. They won it by 23. They beat Gonzaga 82-54. I mean, that's against Gonzaga and Drew Timme and that team who have been incredible all season. And then they just beat Miami 72-59 in the Final Four. I mean, UConn, this has been an incredible run for them. I mean, especially you look at the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 game for UConn. I mean, this is a team that is the favorite in this game, and rightfully so. And you look at San Diego State, this team, they beat Charleston in the first round, kind of a close game, but they got it done. They beat Furman in the second round. Furman coming off of their upset win over Virginia in the first round. Beat them 75-52. They beat Alabama, number 1 overall seed in this tournament, by 7. They beat Creighton by 1. That game was close. And then their buzzer beater against Florida Atlantic, FAU, beating them 72-71. So San Diego State, they've found a way. It hasn't always been dominant, and it hasn't been easy. I mean, for both teams, it hasn't been easy, but UConn has definitely made it look easy just by how dominant this team has been. But this game's going to be on Monday, April 3rd in Houston, Texas. Your tip-off is 9:20 p.m. Eastern. Spread's going UConn here by 7. So the Huskies are favored here by a decent amount, which, considering the dominance of the Huskies in this tournament, you can't be too surprised. The over-under is 132, and the BPI is going with UConn as well, 74%. Your stat comparison, UConn averages 79 points a game, allows 65. I mean, this team offensively, that's what this team has been known for this season, is their outstanding offense. But defensively, I mean, this team has turned it on in this tournament, only allowing 54 points to Gonzaga. That's a perfect example. Gonzaga, an outstanding offense. That's what Gonzaga is known for, is their offense and Drew Timme, and they only got 54 points in that matchup to a brutal UConn defense. And you look at San Diego State, this team averages 72 points a game. They allow 63. You look at the BPI, UConn is 6 in comparison to San Diego State, who's 24. So if you look at the BPI, UConn heading into this tournament was ranked very high at number 6. Your notable games this season, UConn beat Alabama at 1 point by 15. They were 1-2 against Marquette. They got swept by Xavier, split the series against Creighton, and they were 2-1 against Providence. You look at San Diego State, this team lost most of their big games. They lost Arizona by 17, lost to St. Mary's by 7, lost Arkansas by 4. They split the series against Boise State, and they were 3-0 against Utah State. Your key points for this one, UConn, the most dominant team in this tournament. This has been one of the more dominant runs in this tournament that you can remember out of any team. I mean, UConn's a 4 seed too. This isn't no 1 or 2 seed. This is a team that was very much a dark horse heading into this tournament. You look at both teams, honestly. San Diego State being a 5 seed in this tournament. Both teams definitely didn't have very high expectations. I mean, they were definitely overshadowed by the 1 and the 2 seeds, and that's how it usually should be. I mean, you see 1 seeds always go so far. We always see at least, and that's the wild thing about this tournament, we didn't even see a 1 seed in the Elite Eight. I mean, we saw Texas as a 2 seed. That was about it, though. And so, I mean, the amount of upsets in this tournament, we should have seen this coming, honestly, from the start, knowing how insane of a season this has been, and considering there really hasn't been a dominant team at the top. And we've seen several good teams at the top, great teams, you could say, but we haven't seen that super dominant team or group of teams at the top. And so, I mean, to see Purdue fall in the first round, FDU, and all the upsets we have seen, Alabama losing fairly earlier than expected. I mean, Kansas as well. I mean, all things considered, this has been an insane tournament. And if you compare it to last season, we saw Kansas versus North Carolina, 2 prominent blue bloods in the national championship. You look at the Final Four in general, I mean, it was filled with blue bloods. And so you look at this season, with UConn and San Diego State and Miami and Florida Atlantic as the other 2 teams in the Final Four, it's just been the polar opposite of what we saw last season, where we saw the blue bloods coming out on top. And UConn, honestly, could very well be considered, and I think they should be considered, a blue blood, especially if they win this game. If they can win their 5th national title since 1999, you got to consider the Huskies as a potential blue blood. So, I mean, UConn is very much in that conversation now, considering this run in this tournament and their success in the past couple of decades. But they have been dominant. This team is brutal and dangerous. I mean, Sanogo, he's been incredible this season. 17 points a game, all around just a dangerous player. And you look at him, he's been brutal. He's brutal to defend and play against. And you look at San Diego State on the other side. The thing is about the Aztecs, this team, they've got depth, they're brutal, and their experience. This team is built to win, and we knew that heading into this tournament that San Diego State could potentially be dangerous, but this team is very much overshadowed by Alabama in their bracket. Everyone had the Crimson Tide going so far, and that meant San Diego State couldn't go too far. And so for this team, once they beat Alabama, really the sky was the limit for the Aztecs, and here we are. This team is playing for a national title, and defensively, that's really where this team shines. That's what they're going to have to lean on in this matchup. You can't let UConn going on runs, and I mean, we've seen that out of UConn this tournament. They've just, once they get hot, they are brutal to defend, they're brutal to stop. And for San Diego State defensively, they're going to have a really solid, consistent game. I mean, for UConn, offensively, they've gotten it done so easily in this tournament. For San Diego State, I feel like they can't allow more than, say, 75 points in this matchup. I mean, San Diego State's offense is good, but it's definitely not great. I mean, this defense has been really where this team has shined all season. I mean, this is one of the more unexpected national championship matchups that I can remember. I feel like this is one of the more unexpected matchups of all time, and that's just the fun of it and the fun of March Madness. And that said, let's get to the prediction here for UConn and San Diego State coming up here in the national championship. What a game this is going to be, but in the end, I've got UConn. I'm going to go with the favorite here. 70-67 is my predicted final score. I think the Huskies, this is going to be a closer game than some might think. I mean, the Huskies are favored by 7 here. I think San Diego State, though, they put up a fight here, and they keep this game close, but in the end, UConn is just the better team. I think the Huskies, the way this team has been playing, they've been so dominant. I mean, their closest game in this tournament has been a 13-point win to Miami, which was on Saturday night. So this team has been dominant. They know how to win, and I think this is UConn's tournament. They've been the most dominant team. Sanogo really like this team all around. They're consistent. They're dominant. Give me the Huskies to win this game in the end, and they are national champions once again. So I'm going to say 55% towards UConn. Over under is 132. I am taking the over in this game, but if you think San Diego State's going to win this game, I would absolutely take the under, because if the Aztecs win, it's going to be a lower scoring game because of their defense. But in the end, I got San Diego State covering, making this a close game, but UConn is the better team in the end. I appreciate you guys all watching as always. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game, your score predictions, everything. Let me know in the comments, and I appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.